Welcome back to the 200th episode of Life After Corporate, my friend. We are celebrating over here that we have stuck with this show and have had a weekly conversation with you for now 200 episodes over 4 years. We are going into our fifth year, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have you in our community, have you in our circle, and we'll talk about community in a little bit. This podcast was built on a manifesto that entrepreneurship is the new feminist movement. It's the ultimate choice for how women can earn their wealth, how we show up in the world, and that there's more than one way to make a six-figure salary. So, full stop, entrepreneurship is your choice. It's also the most powerful spiritual and personal journey that you will go on. It tugs at all of your edges. It will make you uncomfortable most of the time. And truthfully, if you're not uncomfortable most of the time, maybe you're not doing it right, because it should feel uncomfortable. Because whenever you get into a comfort zone or a groove, you're coasting. And the way the world is shifting and changing in this coming year, and change is happening so much more quickly, you need to be nimble. So there's no such thing as a set it and forget it. I truly thought that 8 years ago when I started my business model, and 3 years ago when I added on our client value ladder and we had upsells and higher ticket offers, that was set. It was a set it and forget it. There you go. I had a $5 million business model. I had a plan to achieve that level of growth, and lo and behold, the world changes, right? So buyer behavior changes, people's needs change. So entrepreneurship, if you're just getting started, lucky you, because you have a blank slate. You have a clear, you don't have any baggage. There's nothing you need to change. There's nothing you need to let go of. This is just a blank slate for you, and you can create from scratch and create something that's really relevant and really current today. So I wanted to cover a few things. Number one, I wanted to share with you our new and revised Life After Corporate Manifesto. I wanted to share with you some of the big lessons learned this past year and some of the Debisms that I've shared along the way, which are really just helpful ways of how to think about how you show up as an entrepreneur, and how you show up in front of prospects and in front of clients, and how you develop your thought leadership online and offline. And I also wanted to share with you an invitation to join me in the Life After Corporate community. I realize that there are so many people who listen to this show, and I'll be out at my networking events or in some of my in-person communities, and everyone says, Deb, I love that episode with so-and-so, or I love listening to your show. I frequently take notes. I grab my journal, I listen twice, I take notes, and then I go off and implement. And I realize that this is a one-way channel, and entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. And last December, I decided that, wow, it would be so cool if we had a digital community that went along with the podcast, where we could gather podcast listeners on a weekly basis. We could get to know each other. We can give each other support, share resources, share recommendations, and certainly share the journey. It's not like corporate, where I could walk next door to my friend Jen's office and say, hey, I've been thinking about this, or I'm having a difficult conversation with so-and-so. What do you think? Can I try it out on you? It's not like that in entrepreneurship. And so we created the community for you to have a place where everyone always knows your name and they're always glad you came. My cheers strategy of getting in front of the room. And where it's a safe space. It's a safe container for you to not have it all together, to not show up all made up and expressing how smart you are, where it's safe to not know. It's safe to ask for help. And so that's what the Life After community is all about. We will post the link below in the show notes, but it's lifeaftercorporate.com/community. And you can find out all about it there. We would love for you to join our founding members. We're having such a great time February is all about leveraging LinkedIn for your thought leadership, leveraging LinkedIn to create more leads, to have conscious conversations with. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I mean, we have so much to cover. We have no lack of things to share with the amazing women in this community. So 200 episodes, we've covered a lot. We've talked about packaging your services. We've talked about pricing. We've talked about a lot about marketing and what's working now and how to show up in front of your audiences, how to get more confident, uh, making offers and not feeling salesy or sleazy, how to generate leads online, and all in all, just build the business systems that are required for sustainable and scalable growth. And some of the things that I want you to take away is that entrepreneurship, for all the things that we learn how to do, is mostly about learning how to be, right? Entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. It's one that will force you to see yourself in a new and often more powerful way. Because in corporate, being different and being powerful was not necessarily rewarded. In corporate, we were rewarded for keeping it inside the lines of not, that whole Goldilocks syndrome, not too loud, not too soft, not too bold, not too meek, all the things that we did to try and fit into a corporate culture that was really toxic to feminine energy. It was toxic to moms and to workers. And just as women were judged more harshly and differently. And if you loved corporate, hey, I loved my corporate journey. I had so much fun because I was in an intrapreneurial environment where I could look around the organization, find a new problem to solve, go talk to someone to see if they would hire me to do that job. And that's how I scaled up that corporate ladder to be 2 levels below the CEO. And it was a fun journey. And everything I learned in corporate, from being in sales, marketing, product development, running a line of business, all of those skills were very important, not only to me in the launch of my own business, but were foundational to how I work with women today. I grew up alongside former McKinsey partners who were the executives at the company that I was working at. So my processes for doing market research, for testing concepts and pricing and packaging and bringing services to market are based on my corporate experience. And now the world is changing, right? So marketing is always shifting and changing. The sales landscape is shifting and changing. What's going on in the outside world is shifting and changing. And right now, it's a very difficult time for most women. And so entrepreneurship, for all its bright, shiny promise, is not the easy road to take. It takes discipline. It takes focus. It takes a willingness to not know. It takes curiosity. It takes investment in yourself and in your business. And it takes resilience and tenacity to keep it going. And so entrepreneurship is really built on trust. And in my mind, it's built on trust in a higher power, that you have received a mission that's so much bigger than you. And the only thing you need to do is to trust that, to have faith, and know that for every challenge you are facing right now, there is a solution. And maybe this was it. Maybe just listening to this podcast today and learning about the community is the answer that you have been seeking in how to get out of your own way. So wherever you go, there you are. That's one of the Debisms that I've dropped on this show, is you can take the girl out of corporate, but you can't take the corporate out of the girl. And whatever mindset traps you fell into in the corporate world, whether it was perfectionism, procrastination, not feeling good enough, overcompensating because an internal feeling of lack of deserving or low self-esteem, if you struggled with confidence because it required you to do a lot of new things that you weren't entirely capable or educated in doing, just multiply that times 10 or maybe times 100 on the entrepreneurial journey. And so it will kick up all your stuff, and we need to stick together. We need to have powerful conversations. You need to get in the right rooms, women entrepreneurs who are leading their own endeavors, so that you can get the support, the guidance, and not feel so alone on this path. The other things that we've talked about is visibility as currency now more than ever. And I know it's feeling crowded out there. Now more than ever, you need to have a consistent visibility strategy. Visibility is money in the bank. So whether you're on LinkedIn or TikTok or Substack or Threads, wherever you are, you can't back down now. In fact, you need to push your thought leadership even further. Uh, where corporate was about coloring inside the lines, entrepreneurship is about the more different you can be, the more you can give people a different way of thinking about a problem or thinking about a solution, the more you will stand out and the more money you will make. You've also heard me talk about pricing. Pricing is elastic. And it's most elastic with how much you believe in yourself and how much you believe you're worth, because no one is really buying your self-worth. People are buying a solution to a very expensive problem. And the value of what you offer, whether you sell it to individuals or if you sell your services to companies as a consultant, you're bringing a solution to a very expensive problem. And there is a cost of inaction, what it costs people when they let the current state continue, when it's not serving them, whether it's bleeding money or people out the door. And there is a return on advantage. There is a value over the course of time that people receive once they learn what you have to share with them and once they implement the strategies and methodologies and frameworks that you teach. And so that's where your price lies. Between the cost of inaction and the return on advantage is where your pricing is. And it's elastic. And it's also very elastic with how confident you're feeling in yourself and how much you feel your self-esteem is intact, because you can't quote a high fee if you don't believe you deserve it. What else have we talked about over the course of the importance of systems and processes and technology? If you're not using AI, oh my God, I discovered a new tool last week that saved me hours. So we did a new master class. It was called the 100-Day Revenue Reset, and based on concepts that I've taught before, but I always like to show it in a new way. And I uploaded my outline to beautiful.ai. So I'm going to share the platform with you because I thought it was friggin' phenomenal how quickly I got a gorgeous presentation that I could then fine tune and edit along the way within minutes, like literally within minutes of uploading my outline. And I thought that was phenomenal. I didn't think it did such a great job when it was, let AI make your presentation for you. That was not great. But if you upload your own IP, your own way of thinking, your way of expressing and teaching concepts and sharing ideas, then if you struggle with the graphics of it, oh my God, you just saved yourself a graphic designer and saved yourself hours of headache trying to figure it out yourself on Canva. So technology, if you're not using technology in your systems and your processes, even in your business dashboard and business analysis, what are you missing out on? How are you prioritizing your time? How are you documenting your processes and your methodologies? What if your key person didn't show up tomorrow and quit on you? How would you onboard someone else into that role? These are all the things that we need to be thinking of. And I also used AI to help me create some content for LinkedIn. I was really pressed for time this week, and I created 7 posts that will last me the next 10 days on LinkedIn. And I have trained my own chat GPT to speak in my voice. And even so, there's a lot of tweaking and fixing along the way because it's not perfect. And if you're using AI and you're not having it analyze its output and improve it, then you're missing a key prompt. So whenever I use AI to write an email sequence or, just a first draft, I always have it analyze its results and suggest improvements. And then I read those improvements, and then I have them implement those improvements. And then another prompt I use all the time is identify all the tells, all the indications in this piece of content that show it was written by AI and not a human. And then I have it fix all the tells that it was written by AI. So, those things help. Those are quick hacks that give you a better draft, but it has to be your thought leadership, whether you're using AI to just create a better output, a more cohesive piece of content. It has to be your IP, your thought processes that you're putting into the system. And then, of course, the last one that's a big one for me is visibility is currency. You can't be invisible and discoverable at the same time. That has never been more true. So if you are not speaking on stages, delivering regular webinars, and we have Standout Webinars is going to start off again on March 7th. That's our 8-week program. You'll be surprised how I can break down a webinar into its micro component parts, and then we put it together at the end. From the hook, the headline, what is the promise, who is this geared to, what stories are you going to tell, and most importantly, how are you going to transition from teaching to making an offer? And the truth is, most people don't make an offer or don't make an offer well, and they overcoach, overteach, and end up leaving that session empty-handed. So Standout Webinars is a key course for you to take, program to join. I work on your webinar with you. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can just send me a direct message. And if you're in the Life After Corporate community, of course, you'll hear about it. So visibility is currency. You need to be consistently visible in the channels that matter. And that doesn't mean you have to be everywhere. I started to read Gary Vee's Day Trading Attention, and it was I got overwhelmed. Like I don't have a whole team of people that can take one piece of content and implement it in 25 different channels. So we keep it simple. We pretty much stick to LinkedIn, exploring Substack, showing up in Instagram every once in a while, but it's not my primary platform. Looking at Threads, there's always something else, but really focusing on YouTube and SEO on YouTube. So believe it or not, the podcast was never on YouTube until about 6 months ago. And then we started populating our YouTube channel with our shows. And since then, we've gotten more subscribers there. So if you're not following us, that's another ask I have of you, is if you're not following us on Apple Podcasts or YouTube or Spotify, give us a follow, leave us a rating. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. Life After Corporate is in the top 2.5% of podcasts worldwide. And I want to be in the top 1.5%. And to do that, we need your help by leaving a rating, leaving a review. It helps the algorithm show our show to other people. And there are more women who are leaving corporate than ever before, and more women who need to hear this message so that you don't go down the path of least resistance, but also least return. So in summary, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. Visibility is currency, and no one is purchasing your self-esteem. And I'd like to close this show by reading our Life After Corporate Manifesto to you. This is the Life After Corporate Manifesto. We are the women who refuse to settle. We reject the status quo and the limits it places on our ambition. We will not wait for permission to lead, to create, or to claim our place at the table. We are done playing by someone else's rules, hemmed in by glass ceilings and outdated expectations. Entrepreneurship is our revolution. It is our path to true autonomy, where success is measured by impact, freedom, and fulfillment. We build businesses that reflect our deepest values and boldest visions. Together, we rise. We lift as we climb, shattering barriers and forging new paths for the women who will come after us. This is not just about business. It's about rewriting the narrative of power, leadership, and legacy. This is the new feminist movement, And together, we will change the world one purpose-driven, fearless step at a time. That's it for now, my friends. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It's my honor, it's my pleasure, and let's carry on the conversation in the Life After Corporate community. If you want to learn more about that, go to lifeaftercorporate.com/community. It's where we all rise together. See you next time, my friend.